Good morning, everyone. Nate Everydayim Hustling, and here I'm with Anthony Pittsburgh and Tommy 2.0, The Bargain Effect, and we're going to have an awesome show for you this morning. A little bit later on, we're going to have Dylan Carter, from a co-founder of Aura, and also a really cool promotion for Aura. So stick around for that. He should be popping in at about 11 Eastern time. I'm gonna pass along to Anthony, and we'll do the see who's in chat.
Sure. What is up, guys? First person we got today is Myra Elaine. Way to go, Myra. You are first with us this morning, followed by Steven Scroggins. He's up early today, guys. Matt BK Vending and Flipping. What's up, Matt? We have Justin Jacobs in the house. Veronica the Cherry Picker. What is going on? Steampunk Town. Good morning. Good morning. Kelly the Ecom Mom Ward. Killing it on eBay, Kelly? Or I mean, not eBay, Amazon? You're probably killing on eBay too, though. Kelly always has some pretty cool finds on Amazon. We have the other Kelly, Hip Flippin' Mama. What is going on? Anthony Bluegrass Picker. Good to see you, my man. Hand Pay Jackpots. What's going on? First time I've seen you here, so I'm glad to see you. Yeah. Christina Moore. Good to see you as well. Alexis. How are you doing today? Good to see you. We have Eric Bischoff, the man, the myth, the legend. Good to see you, man. We got Michelle Lathan. I'm sure there's probably a few other people in here or trickling in. Feel free to say hello, and we will say hello right back at you.
For sure. Good morning, everybody.
Buenos dias.
We're all just talking in the green room just before the show started about how sales are starting to slow up. I was really interested in seeing how everyone's, if you want to put it down in the chat, how many sales you've had in the last couple of days or even just today. Just trying to see what's going on with eBay. I haven't had any sales and it's been kind of slow. So hopefully it's the surge of sales are coming with Black Friday, hopefully.
Yeah, I only have 3 sales going out today, but 2 of them are to the same buyer.
Yeah, I'm with Nate. I have nothing going out on eBay. Nothing going out on Macari.
Yeah, I haven't had any, even any watchers to send offers to or anything, which is very, very odd for me. At least I'll, have people, watching or, I could send a couple offers here and there, but it's just probably because we're so close to Thanksgiving and people are getting ready for that and hopefully getting ready to spend some money on eBay and Amazon and with all the Black Friday deals coming. So
that's what I think. I think they're all saving their pennies to try to make the most of the Black Friday deals, and then I'm hoping it picks up from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Hopefully that's the case. A lot of people were saying that, their sales are down. I thought Steven was saying he's been in the toilet, but that's his sales have been in the toilet.
Yeah, like I've been doing pretty well on Amazon. Yesterday was the first day that I was below $200 in sales for the day. Part of that might have been because of my inventory too. It's a little bit low, but I don't know what happened. But my package got there yesterday and they checked it in right away. So that is a good sign for anyone that's sending to the Pennsylvania warehouse. That's your main warehouse. So if that's the case, send in right now.
Yeah.
I was thrilled.
I have an order that I need to get packed and shipped in.
Yeah,
I was kind of trying to wait till after this weekend to send it just so I'd have a larger order to send in.
Now I got a question for you since you guys are talking. I was watching Joe. He did an interview with Primetime Joe from Family Flips.
Yeah.
Primetime Treasure Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And he said with the liquidation stuff, he's not on Amazon because they're suspended for something. I don't know. I think it was whatever, one of those things that you can get suspended for. But he's expecting to get his account back 6 to 8 weeks. He's going through some company. But anyways, he said there's some first. How did he word it? Anyways, it boiled down to where you can actually sell liquidation on Amazon, but you have to sell it as used like new.
Yeah.
In order to not get that where you don't have to provide an invoice for it.
Yeah, you anything that you don't have a receipt for, you can't sell it as new, but you could sell it as used like new or used very good. They have different conditions depending on what your product is currently at. I don't know. I don't sell a lot of used stuff. I only sold a couple things, but basically new like or used like new is basically just like some box damage, like very like shelf damage, or like a nick on a corner or something like that.
Which I would imagine when you're buying pallets of a bulk loaded liquidation, I imagine most of your boxes are going to have some sort of surface wear,
right?
Or some crushing or whatever.
Yeah, like that would be the case. Sometimes you'll get you'll get stuff that's maybe missing some packaging, or the packaging might be like really really bad, so you can downgrade the condition on that as well. But there's all kind of different categories of how they grade. Basically, it's almost like like a grade baseball cards. Like basically, that would be like how you would have to grade your items that you would send in used like that or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like a standard that they have, or a guide that you can look at and basically just kind of read it, and if it matches up, then you're good to go.
Right, because I really want to get into that liquidation. I think that's where the money's at. I think that's where the easier listings at, the easier sourcing, because you can actually source it from right here in the comfort of my little computer chair that I want to upgrade. I'm looking at one on Amazon for $98, pretty badass. But anyways, I was like, dang, I want to get into liquidation, but I want to get into Amazon, and I can't kind of simultaneously do both under the same thing. I was like, well, I'm gonna have to do wholesale for Amazon, do liquidation and liquidation for eBay. But then I did some price comparing where the used like new stuff is still selling on Amazon, and it still sells for higher than it does on eBay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of it. Like I've had some items where I've actually chosen to go with eBay over Amazon just because the profit was higher. But in most categories, you're going to see Amazon is a higher profit margin. But you got to factor in FBA does charge different rates for every item too. So you want to always check to see like if you're planning to send the stuff in, like what the FBA rate is, because I've seen items where I'm like, wow, I should make a killing on this, and then I see how much FBA is asking for it, and FBA is making the killing, and I'm just making like a few little shekels on the side.
All right. I mean, like we'll go with a hypothetical, whatever. Say I get a bunch of these branded coffee mugs, and they're selling good. And I can make an $8 profit on eBay, or I can make a $5 profit on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And I got 50 of them, so it's going to take me 3 months to sell on eBay, or I can go with a $5 profit, and it's going to take me 6 weeks to sell on Amazon. I'm gonna rock Amazon.
Yeah, for sure. I would too.
Yeah, I mean, even if eBay was going to give me a little more ROI, I mean, unless like my quantity that I can get is like just a couple, then that's where maybe I would kind of weigh out my options, or maybe send out a couple to Amazon, keep a couple for eBay. But for the most part, like I pick Amazon over eBay inventory most of the time, just for the fact that just stuff sells so fast. Like just like we're talking about, eBay sales kind of for me and Tommy. I mean, and also you, Anthony, have slowed down or went to zilch. Yeah. I haven't had a goose egg on Amazon since, I can't remember when. You know what I mean? It's probably before I had my Repricer, which was early in the game. So,
yeah,
I mean, I'm always making, sales, making money. Some days are better than others, but at least, no matter what, I'm selling something. As soon as I wake up, or the second the day starts at 3 a.m. Eastern on Amazon, basically they roll over for the day. And some days I'll start out with $100 like before 6 o'clock in the morning. So it's just amazing the turnaround and the velocity of how things go on there for me. So
yeah. So I was quite excited when I found out. Oh, I can do the both of them. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd keep like say I got. I don't know. He did a video like on tablets. Say I got the tablets that he got. I'd keep a stack to sell on eBay. Obviously, diversify it, but like you say, if you send a few in and they're pushing out on Amazon, that's where a majority of it's going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even some categories that you might be gated in is new, you can sell as collectible or used.
That's what I noticed when I was out scanning, and it would say eligible to sell in like used condition or whatever it was, but I couldn't sell it in new.
Yeah, like I know I see that for me right now with Funko and stuff like that, where I get the collectible or used tab versus the new.
Now, I've had things where I've looked things up. Now, explain this to me. I've looked things up, and I'll see the same item in like two different categories, and I'm restricted on one but not the other. Is it risky to send it in on the category that it's not restricted?
You got to really pay attention to what category that item's in, because sometimes people will move stuff into the wrong categories, and just so they can get around the gating process, and you can actually get kicked off the listing and possibly suspended for doing stuff like that. So you really have to be careful doing that. I know one time I scanned an item, scanned the barcode, it pulled up the exact item, so there wasn't any searching that I had to do or whatever. It looked like it was in the right category, but I guess the person spelled the company name different or something like that, and the listing actually came down for me because of that or whatever. So just you have to be very be very mindful of everything that you're looking at when you're doing the listings and stuff like that, especially something like say for me, a lot of toys for me I can't do, what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And some I was getting to be able to send in that the listings were legit. They just let me sell them or whatever. Well, right before the fourth quarter, or actually right at the start of fourth quarter, I guess Amazon was doing their categories for like the Christmas toy list and stuff like that, and I had to send back probably like 20 or 30 items that I bought just for Amazon. So that stunk. But I mean, now personally, I didn't do anything wrong, and the listing was right. It was just Amazon had it in their system that they're allowing it, and now they made it gated. So it's just something you deal with.
Yeah, that would suck. I know for a fact there's a couple, like, because I always check toys because I sell them on eBay too. So, like, if they sell on eBay, I always pick them up. But some of the stuff that I bought for eBay, since I've been on Amazon, I've been kind of just checking to see, like, what they go for on Amazon. And I've actually sent in some of those toys because I was ungated in them. And I've started to see toys that have been sitting in my basement for 6 months start to sell pretty rapidly on Amazon.
Yeah, that's what made me, switch over. I was looking at my inventory during last fourth quarter,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking at I'm a new seller, and I'm like, man, I have the hottest toys. Like I have them. They're cheaper than Amazon. They're one of the cheapest on eBay, and they're not selling. I don't know. Part of it was my feedback. It wasn't very high at the time. I think a top rated seller, I think at that point. But it just wasn't, I just wasn't getting the sales, and I was really puzzled and didn't understand why. So, everyone was talking about Amazon, and I was seeing the difference in the price. It was actually selling for a lot more, like $10 to $15 more, and selling very, very quickly. And that's what made me switch over, because I felt like I was missing out on a lot of opportunities and money, for my business. And fourth quarter is the most important quarter. So if I'm missing out in that big of a dramatic thing, then I need to go in and take a stab at it, and I did, and I had to, I was able to move, luckily, some of my fourth quarter stuff on Amazon to that was basically how I started, funneling my cash flow for it was some of the stuff I bought for eBay originally for fourth quarter, and it sold on Amazon for either break-even point just to get my money back because I was happy at that point to do that, or I actually made a few bucks. So
Anthony, how long have you been doing Amazon now? 5-6 weeks? Something like that?
I was approved in October. That means anything. Like I started the process in October.
Like
can't remember quite
when you have something like your first order,
Trying to even think. Do you remember when that would have been, Nate? Because we went sourcing together.
That had to be probably about 4 weeks ago, I think. Pretty sure.
I wonder if it would even tell me in my Amazon app.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to get a rough idea. So you've sent in how many shipments?
I've sent in 4 shipments so far.
All right. So when you're, because I know I'm going to get into it right around the corner. First of the year. That's not far away at all. So now that you've done it, you've sent in a couple of shipments. You're kind of familiar with what you're looking for. What is the biggest roadblock or confusion thing when you're out scanning?
Mm-hmm.
Like what stumps you still? Is there anything that you have to get a hold of Nate and be like, what does this mean? Or I'm confused about this.
Every once in a while, like for example, there was a product that was like a refrigerated item that I was like, all right, dude, like this says it has a really good rank and I could probably make, at least a triple up on it. Should I go heavy into this? Like, what's the thing? And Nate was like, well, I mean, you could sell that, but if you sell it, then you're going to have to send it to them in coolers and stuff. So you're going to have to take money out of what you would be making to get it there in the same condition it is at the store. You know what I mean? So that was one of the questions I asked him recently. And I never would have thought of that, but I mean, it makes sense because if something's refrigerated, by the time they get it, it could be nasty. You know what I mean?
I didn't even realize that Amazon sold refrigerated grocery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what's really opened my eyes a little bit, and I thought about it. I'm like, of course they have a normal warehouse, of course, but do they have a refrigerated warehouse or even a freezer section? Because I know they're starting to get more into the food and stuff like that. And from what you showed me, that was a refrigerated item that definitely needs refrigerated. So if that item was a prime item, do they have the warehouse capabilities to hold something like that? So that's why, like I told you, I was like, if you were going to send that, make sure you bought basically a foam, almost like one of them cheap foam coolers.
Yeah.
Or but you'd have to build a box or get a box like that.
Yeah.
Actually put ice packs or something there to make sure that would stay cold on the way to the buyer or whatever. So it'd have to stay cold for 2 days or so probably.
And that's cool. I mean, that almost makes me feel like I'd have an edge against the average person out there because I was on Humira injections for 3 years and it's a refrigerated medication.
Yeah.
So it was shipped to me in insulated boxes with the gel packs and everything.
Yeah.
So I got grocery bags. I mean, literally grocery bags full of these gel packs. And I probably got about 100 of these styrofoam boxes that I've always kept because I'm like, there's going to be a practical use someday for them. I know if you go to buy them, they're expensive. So
after the show, I'll send you the product.
Yeah. So it's
because I'm not about to go spend all that extra money on getting the stuff to get it refrigeratedly sent to Amazon.
Right. Bad Dog said, there you go.
Do you have any listing work at all on Amazon at all? Do you just send it in and auto links to the Amazon item page? Yeah. Basically, say you're sourcing and you're looking at items. There's an app, and you scan with the app, and most times it will bring up the product itself, and that will be what your listing would be and what you could what it's selling for currently and everything like that. So the only thing you do is you take it home.
I'll show you real quick.
Okay, good.
So you're essentially if I wanted to sell Goof Off. Oh, apparently it just scanned my MacBook. If I wanted to, So, okay, well, I'm gated in goof off, but just for example, I'm going to just click one of them. Okay, so you got the goof off up. There's a little thing down in the corner that says list. You just click that. And basically, it's going to ask you the condition of the goof off. Like if it's brand new, you just go through, select new, and then basically you'll just say, it'll say I'll ship it myself or Amazon will ship that item. I just select Amazon will, and then you just click continue. And then basically it's listed, like it's in your inventory. So when you go to build your shipment later, you already have your goof off there, and you can already go and like select how many you're sending in. And basically it'll spit out labels for, like say I had 20 of these, it would print out 20 labels whenever I go to actually build the order on the computer. But as far as the listing process, literally it's literally a two-step process. It's so easy to list. The more difficult process you need to learn is the process of actually building the order, like what you're sending to them, because they, like, for example, they would probably want me to like put in a suffocation proof poly bag. And then on the outside of the poly bag, you'd put a little barcode sticker, so that way they would know where to put it, I guess, like to associate it with your account.
Make sure it'll tell you when you're building your shipment that needs to be poly bagged, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to.
But it doesn't tell you when you're buying it, right? Like when you scan it. So you can't, and I mean, unless you know, okay, this is an item that's going to need to be poly bagged.
You'll learn.
You can't figure. I mean, like when you're first starting. I buy this, it's good. I scan it and I'm like, ooh, there's that much profit. And then I get it home and then I go to build my shipment. Now I got to put it in a poly bag and I got to buy suffocation. So I got to add that into my cost, which decrease. But it doesn't tell you that when you're scanning it, right?
No, it does. It will, when you scan it originally, like where when you scan it.
And like I'm in the store and I scan it with my seller app.
Right. It'll bring it up. It'll be a little box right on the picture. It'll be like you'll see it'll look like a white box. Like literally like a white box, and then you can click on that and it will say it needs poly bagged or needs some type of additional packaging or stuff like that. You also forgot one step, Anthony, and Kelly pointed out that you forgot to put your price in too. You put in it, you have to put in your starting price, and you can always change that price in your inventory on your inventory page, or if you use a Repricer. That's basically like your initial price once you get those in or whatever. Yeah, like I just ordered 1,000 6x9 poly bags, and I got 1,000 of them for $27. So they're not that, they're cheap depending on the size. The bigger they get, of course, the more they will be. But poly bags not too bad.
This is a prime example of what I was talking about earlier. Okay, so this is just regular glycerin. I mean, it's got multiple uses. And I scanned it just to try to look for that box. So it came up, I don't know if you see that, restricted in pantry. I can't sell it in pantry. But in health and home care, which is where I bought it in the health department at Walmart, I can sell it in new condition.
Yeah, that would be okay. Pantry is a special program for certain sellers or whatever, but you could sell it in grocery or that would be a healthcare item. So you'd want to pick the healthcare listing. But the pantry is like basically it's almost like it's another. It's like Amazon has another like a special program that people pay into to get more everyday items for a little bit better of a price, but they have to pay an extra fee every month.
I'm gonna have to have you look at that, Nate.
Yeah, Bad Dog. That's no photos. You don't have to put any listing stuff. I mean, that's what makes that's what makes me love Amazon. I can go sourcing, basically if I wanted to in one day, I can source like 40 or 50 different products. If I wanted to, I can list them and I can pack them basically in one day for the most part, as long as I start early enough. Because I usually do huge shipments, 300, items. There'll usually be, say, like 50 different items, 40 different items. Um, and then I send multiple of each of those items in. And, it does take time to package and to process everything like in your shipment. That's what, it takes me and my wife about 4 hours to do that. But once I do that and I ship it out, the only thing I do basically from that point on is I put my prices in my repricer, and that's it. I just check and make sure Amazon's happy, and that's it.
I just sent the UPC to both you guys, and I want if you guys would, I would like Anthony to evaluate on whether he would purchase that, and then I want you to see if you agree with his evaluation. Because to me, it looks. I'll tell you what I thought afterwards.
Okay, I'll pull my app back up.
I'm really curious, because to me, without knowing anything, I'd probably say, "Oh yeah, that'd be a nice buy." But
coffee refill?
Yes, please.
What was the ranking on that?
See, that's where I'd be slipping. I didn't even look. But that's why I can't tell you. I want you to evaluate it.
It's not scanning on here. Can I type it in by the UPC, Nate?
Yeah, you should be able to. I guess the rank varies depending on how many you send in a pack. So, like, a 12-pack's got a different rank than a 2-pack.
Yeah, I basically polybag basically everything for the most part. I send a lot of multi-packs, so those have to get polybagged. Something that has like 3 items in it or a
What's
bundle.
the cost of this, Tommy?
About $3.
Okay, so the sales rank here. For example, for a pack of 2, the rank is 655,360. I don't know if that's good or if that's bad for this type of item. Let's see. So it's about $3 a piece. So it'd be $6 for 2. You'd stand to profit about $10 on the item. So if that's a good rank for the category, then I would probably get it. But I'm still like cheat sheeting, like what ranks are good for.
Now, from what I'm looking at, Nate, here on the sheet, that would be like the top 10%, right?
Yeah.
Now, is that good? I know you say you like to stay 5.
Yeah, I like to stay in 5, but sometimes items that are in the 10 and maybe your profit is that that high. Now, maybe dropping the price a little bit, or maybe you're adding your competition to it. Maybe doing that will drive the ranking down, where you're actually making more sales too. So, like depending on what your ability to source that product. If it's something, say you only have 10 of and that's it, like that's all the store had, you can't get any more, I'd be pretty close to the cuff of where that price is. Like I really wouldn't want to drop. I mean, I would, but I wouldn't want to drop it, like say down to, where I'm making $1 or anything like that. I would try to make 10, but if possible, I'd bring it down to hopefully make it so it would sell better. You know what I mean?
It's right about at a $10 profit right now for 2-pack.
Yeah,
I mean that's a great profit on $3. I mean it'd
be a $6 investment, right?
That'd be like healthcare. What would it be? Beauty and health, Nate? Is that the category?
Yeah, that'd be health.
Beauty, yeah. Eric, he passed, and Eric's like pretty savvy when it comes to Amazon too.
Yeah, I mean, top 10%. That's not a bad. I mean, that's not a bad. Ranking to do it. I mean, that's towards like the top of the chain of where you want to kind of look for is 10%. But
For example,
like I
though,
said,
if you go to a 4-pack, the rank like almost doubles.
Yeah, so you wouldn't want to really go any higher. You wouldn't want to do that. Like I said, it might be because of the price. Like maybe going down a couple dollars would make that possible, or maybe even doing, you know, FBM. You know what I mean? That might be even be a better option.
Reseller Kings asking if you could sell expired makeup on Amazon. You know what? I'm gonna guess no, just because I know with food and stuff, they're very strict against expiration dates and stuff like that. I'm not entirely sure about like makeup and stuff, but I'm guessing. Yeah, okay. So Eric confirms it's a no.
Right. You can sell expired makeup on eBay, and if it's a well-liked brand that say has been discontinued, you can make a killing on it.
Yeah, Pete was just talking about that the other day. In fact, Pete was talking about liquidation the other day as well.
Thank you
for scaling your business.
Yes, liquidation is definitely something I would love to grab.
Yeah,
because I would love to have
expired anything FBA.
Yeah, like with Amazon, with say you're sourcing a product like I don't know, just any food item, for example, and you got to scan it, but you look at the expiration, and you don't have 90 days, like from the day that you're building the shipment and making it, you have to have at least 90 days for it to go out. Because if it doesn't, if it goes down to like say it's 80, 85 or whatever the case is, then it would it wouldn't let you send it in, because it asks you right as you're building your shipment what's the expiration is on it. And say that you do send something that's close to the expiration, say it's 95 or whatever, you get it in and you don't sell any of them, or you only sell so many of them, I think around the 45th day they would actually it's either 45 or 30 days left, they would actually basically take that out of your inventory and destroy it. Or
Hey, good morning, Jen and Jeff. Appreciate you guys jumping in. They were our guests yesterday. Today at 5 p.m. Eastern time, I'll actually be on their show that they host twice a week with Adventures in Reselling Victoria. It'll be on her channel tonight, 5 p.m. If anybody is a member of our Facebook group, I do have a link to it in there. And I'll actually drop a link to our Facebook group for anyone that hasn't joined it yet.
Nate, do you have a problem with a child popping in on your channel for a minute?
No, I don't have a problem with that.
Jazlyn turned 12 years old today.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jazz.
I figured I'd give a chance for everybody to wish her a happy birthday. She didn't think I could still pick her up and carry her like a baby, which I had to prove this morning. Probably wasn't good for me, but I did it.
So what are you going to do on your birthday today?
Probably hang out with the Guardians that are coming over at 6, and with my 2 dads.
Nice.
And her bird.
And my bird.
Well, I hope you have a happy birthday and you enjoy it. Make sure Tommy over here spends a lot of money on your birthday stuff.
Are you going to go shopping in his inventory for your birthday?
She wants to go to the bin. This is what she wants to do for her birthday. She wants to go to the bins this weekend.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Get her done.
You're getting happy birthdays in the chat there.
You should totally share that, Destiny. The picture of Tommy holding her like a baby.
Oh, send it to me, honey, and I'll screen share it.
That's awesome. That's cool that she wants to go to the bins. Like, I can't wait for my kids to get old enough to really like dive in to really help me.
Love the bins, dude. If I say, "Hey, guess where we're going?" the first thing is the bins. No, oh man, we're going to Goodwill. Ooh. they want the bins.
I don't blame them. Bins is where it's at.
All right. Okay, but it is your birthday, but you still got yours.
Yep, I got some one done. I got 3 of them done, and I got 3 more to do.
All right, well, you better get on it so you got the rest of the day for yourself.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thrift Daddy's asking, are your bins savage? How aggressive is it?
We have one set of bins in one of the towns in Madison that, like, I always describe it as Black Friday every day. I mean, they are crazy there. They're just rude. They're nasty. The bins itself, like the building itself, is just kind of grody. And then we have the bins in Appleton. Everybody's polite. It's an older crowd. It's real clean. It's spacious, and I make friends there.
Yeah.
I can tell other resellers will talk, and it's like, oh, what kind of stuff you looking for? Oh, what kind of stuff you looking for? And we actually, here, check this out. You interested in that? Yeah. So it's pretty cool, at the ones. We don't even go to what I call the ghetto bins no more.
Yeah, we very seldom go to the bad bins here in Pittsburgh. I mean, because there's a mix of both. Some of them are bad, some of them are good. The one that's good is like a pop-up shop, meaning that like they're only there for a limited amount of time. Their time's been extended like 3 or 4 times now, though, just because there's so many people like getting a hold of corporate, basically saying don't take our bins away. And that bins is super chill. Like me and Nate normally meet up there, and like we've even picked up subs there just from like making friendly conversation with people. So yeah, it's a good mix.
I wish I would have recorded the one conversation I had with the one guy. Like he really, shared a really good, like, how he sources or what he looks for and what he's found and stuff like that. So it might be something I'll be doing in the future, like just pulling up on somebody and trying to get an interview and get their insight of the bins and how they source and stuff like that.
So HandPay Jackpots is asking, what are the bins? So essentially what the bins are is it's like a Goodwill outlet where everything is basically stored in big blue bins, like to where I'm guessing they're probably like 8 feet long by probably 4 or 5 feet. And essentially people just walk by and they dig for items, and it's all stuff that was either not selling in the stores or just overstock of inventory that gets shipped there, and people can go and dig through there and get stuff by the pound, and it's much cheaper than thrifting at a thrift store. So that's essentially what the bins are. I'm gonna pull up a video real quick, and I'll just kind of share my screen to just kind of show you what it is.
Oh, so I was just saying, Nate, you should have a screen share for me, I think, of the picture.
So you go ahead and share your picture, and then I'll share mine.
I don't see any screen shares at all.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there. Oh, it should be. Oh, application window. Why is this not working? This is the first time I'm doing it on a single monitor, and I don't know how. Okay, go ahead, Anthony. I got to figure this out.
All right, I'm just waiting on the ad to play.
Yeah, and also what Bad Dog said, bins are where all the overpriced Goodwill items go to die.
Yep.
That's why you find some great things there. They'll just want
there you go, Nate.
Crazy. There you go. They just want crazy amounts of money for some items, and
so this is the bins here. Like you'll see these big blue bins where you can go and you can dig through and you can find stuff. And it's just an entire store set up with these huge bins that you can go dig through and find stuff literally for pennies on the dollar.
It's like modern times, like treasure hunting.
Yep.
Get through the junk to find the good stuff.
It is awesome. Like it's a lot of fun. You can find stuff there super cheap and make good money on it. Like you see this person pushing bins away. They bring out new bins every 15 minutes to every 30 minutes, depending on which location you go to. But there's a mixture of everything in these bins. They have some bins that are just clothing. So it's just, you know, you never know what you're going to find. I like to dig all the way to the bottom because a lot of times there's really cool smalls down there, like action figures and stuff. When I went to the bins in New Hampshire with NASCAR Man, there was a ton of like vintage 80s toys at the bottom, like Ninja Turtles, Voltron, like everything you can think of, all at the bottom. And there's a lot of people that don't like to dig all the way to the bottom, but it's just like literally bin after bin after bin. And a lot of times people will go to the bins and they're literally camp out all day long just waiting on the new inventory to come out. So, yeah, that's essentially what it is. It's just people digging and stuff. I'm not practicing what I'm about to preach, but I would suggest you wear gloves there. I forgot mine that day, but you can find stuff that you can get cut on, or, you know, like just disgusting things in there too. So you just want to make sure that you're protecting yourself from like any of that stuff. But yeah, that's essentially what the bins are. Like, as you see, I'm digging through some shoes now. So there's all kinds of different stuff there. And last winter, I actually survived. My business survived off of pretty much sourcing the bins entirely. There's Everyday She's Hustling. Getting that grind. So, yeah. For those of you who've never been to the bins, that's exactly what it is.
I think I got your...
There it is.
There you go.
That's the only way I can figure out how to screen share. Just kind of...
That's a good daddy right there.
I was gonna say, because I see another Tommy in the chat too.
Yeah, she didn't think I could still pick her up and hold her like a baby. I was like, bet I can.
Could never get too little to get picked up by Dada.
Right. So I'm confused, man. You guys got to educate me. You guys are running single monitors, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm on a laptop right now.
How do you do it? Like, I went to do it.
I just hit screen share, and then it pops up with a box. I click the inside that box, or be a screen, like another box or a picture or whatever. I click on that, and then I click OK, and then it just pops up.
Yeah.
The thing I like about the bins too is, like, my wife will get stuff that you know, she'll go to Target and stuff and pay full price for, but she'll find at the bins, and, you know, it saves me money on, you know, the random house decor stuff that I hate to pay for and buy. And, you know, and then I'll find stuff to, you know, for the business. And
hand paid, yeah, the one in Heidelberg is like that. The one that you were seeing in the video was the one in Monroeville. But yeah, it's the same concept in Heidelberg.
He's from Cranberry, or around Cranberry, so he's not far from us, actually.
What's up, Handpay? Dude, didn't you say you wanted to see duck get like slaughtered on Sunday? Like, you're from Pittsburgh? What's going on, my man?
Is that what he said? I thought he said that he
wasn't that him that said that, or did somebody else say that?
He said something about it, but I thought it was in a good way. I didn't think it was a negative.
Oh, I thought he said he wanted to see duck get smashed or something.
I'm gonna have to go look for it right now.
Duck's our new starting quarterback, for anybody that didn't know.
Is that they make it official?
Yeah, Tomlin came out and announced that they're moving forward with Duck this week.
He did say just waiting for Hodges to get smashed on Sunday. I thought he did good.
Yeah,
I thought he came in and won the game for us. He threw the ball farther.
Rico over there.
Yeah, he threw the ball farther than 5 yards down the field. He didn't throw the other team. It was usually pretty good. He came in and really did something, I thought, especially for not really expecting to play. You know what I mean? Well, I guess with your second quarterback starting most of the year, I guess you should think you're eventually going to play if he plays bad. But
yeah,
it's been a rough season for Pittsburgh, that's for sure. Off and on.
It really has been, man.
For us to be 6-5, I'll take that any day of the week, that's for sure.
Yep.
Now you got me wondering about that glycerin product. I wonder, like I said, I wonder if that price got dropped by like $3, if that would really, turn that into something that would really, be a lot better sales rank.
Yeah, Reseller King says, my thing is they overprice it at the store, then they send it to the bins. Wouldn't it be better off just pricing it lower at the store? One would think, but they're a little bit greedy.
Yeah, like I don't like as I started my business and stuff like that. Goodwill was the only thing I had in my arsenal at first, So as I see the prices going up and everything else, like my business model might turn into more bins and liquidation. Hand pay. You're a Browns fan? Oh my!
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
you suffered more than we are this year.
You guys had Super Bowl aspirations, as we did at the beginning of the season, and we both crumbled, but we didn't crumble as bad as the Browns.
Yeah.
Big Ben got hurt. Big Ben didn't get hurt. I think we had a shot at winning the Super Bowl. We played the Ravens tough, and they're demolishing everyone right now.
Look, you can tell Reseller King's a loyal fan because he likes the Bengals.
They're the 0-for right now.
Yep. You hear about that dude that they were talking about during the game on Sunday that refuses to get off of the roof of his restaurant until the Bengals win a game?
Yeah.
I was like, man, what's going to happen when they don't win a game this season? Like, he's going to basically die up there.
Right. I guess he has everything he needs, or they bring up whatever.
The crazy thing though is it's like wintertime. It gets cold in Ohio.
Oh yeah, he was in.
That's gotta suck.
Yeah, he's gonna have to put some money and build some put some insulation around him and some walls, because he has that cheap plastic that you see for people putting on windows or on top of pallets at my work or whatever. That's what they're using right now to basically protect from the wind.
Reselling King asks, are you guys plan on doing any RA this Black Friday? Actually, the show plan is that you guys are actually going to go out, right? And you're going to broadcast live doing some RA on the show Friday. I'll be here at the command station. They're going to be out in the field, man. And Anthony, you're going to try to get a couple interviews, eh? Yeah,
I'm going to do the ghettoest interviews ever, because this doesn't plug into anything I own. So I'm gonna literally be interviewing them with it's not a fake microphone, it's a real one, but it's just not gonna be hooked up to anything.
Me and Destiny too. I thought of it. I was like, man, I should have printed them an Entrepreneurs Press ID badge, threw it in one of the extra lanyards I had. You could have walked around with that.
Still would be kind of ghetto to do it with my phone, but it is what it is. But there's probably going to be a lot of people that are going to want to be on a show. I was like, hey, I'm here on behalf of the Entrepre-doers morning show.
The funniest thing might be what we would catch in the people Walmart type situations at our Walmarts.
Mm-hmm. We should have planned it more. Could have had fun, man. You could have got one of them. You guys could have got together. Yeah. You could have had the big old VCR with the GoPro or the phone strapped on top of it, for the look. You could have the mic with the big box around it. So Entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Next year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I hope the Wi-Fi is going to be good enough, because I'm probably going to do a test run. Probably tonight after I get off work. I'll take my tablet and connect to the Wi-Fi, and I might need one of you guys to start a StreamYard for me. But I'll see how good it is for my tablet, because my phone stinks.
What time do you usually get off?
Well, tonight I'm sure we're gonna be working late, but maybe I usually get off at 10 usually, but I think tonight's gonna be a late one, because they said that we're supposed to get 2 days worth of trucks in one day. So,
oh boy,
yeah, we receive around 28 to 30,000 cases. And today's supposed to be 50,000. I mean, that's technically morning shift's job, that much they receive, but they were trying to have me come in at 11, and I told them that ain't gonna happen. So, so I told them I'd come in right after the show is over. So I'll probably be there at 12:30. So I'll have to go help them do their job to get them out of the work, and then I can start mine because that's how things work. So, yeah, today's gonna be a long day. So, if anyone has, if anybody's gonna be up late tonight, maybe I'll do a stream for my thing if no one else is up for you guys.
Steven, man, he's always up late.
Yeah, I was saying, man. Lately, I've been staying up. I've been up. I haven't been able to get to sleep. So shoot me a message, man, if you want to do that. I can come down to the dungeon and fire it up, and then see how well it connects. And
yeah,
I mean, I know. I've Facebook chatted, video chatted flawlessly in Walmart, but I've never done any like StreamYarding or nothing.
Yeah, I just don't know how. Yeah, I'll bring my phone in. Of course, I'll bring my phone, but I'll bring my tablet and my phone. We'll see which one does better, and
there you go.
Go from there, and of course, my phone will have an internet no matter what. But I think my tablet will be better suited for quality, for the stream, because I'm sure it might be pixelated on my phone because it's junk.
Still got to get together too. I want to test this multi-stream out.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, tomorrow, half a day Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday I'm off. So I have a lot of time to catch up on a lot of stuff. Definitely see some videos and stuff coming out. And definitely working Hangout too this weekend. Probably Saturday would be the best bet. Maybe even Sunday. I might do one live as I watch the Steelers game or something.
There you go, Nate. Some free inventory for you.
Free? Yeah, I'll definitely take those. I got a big warehouse I can go throw them in. That's my dad has for his business, so I'll definitely take those. I'll throw those up on eBay. If I do well on them, I'll send you some. A PayPal, a little slot money for you.
There you go.
If anyone likes watching like people playing at the slots and hitting jackpots and stuff like that, that's what his channel's all about. So
yeah, I checked that out. I subbed to him earlier. Looks interesting. I like slot machines.
And without further ado, the man of the hour is here, Dylan Carter from Aura. So we're going to bring him in, guys.
All right.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's up,
Dylan?
How you doing?
Good. Just jumping around, the usual. That's where it's like meetings after meetings now. But that's good stuff. But how are you guys doing?
Doing
great.
Thanks for taking time out to come on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's always fun to be able to talk and kind of geek out with this stuff, which you'll learn I'm very much that. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Kind of what we do Monday through Fridays. We just get on here and we talk about reselling, Amazon, eBay, all the different stuff. So I feel like you're right up our alley.
Yeah, that's my jam. Less so on the eBay side. I haven't really gotten into that, but wholesale Amazon, repricing certainly. We can talk about some myths of repricing, which are really fun. Some things that are not so considered normal, I guess. There's a lot of things that are kind of thrown around in our industry that are not really accurate or appropriate when you really kind of think them through. One of which is my favorite, which is we should all just share the buy box and be fair. But the last time I checked, we all run companies that compete against each other. And we started these companies for a specific reason. Now, it's not to mean like you should go on the opposite side of that, be a polar opposite and be a shark. That's not the point. But, when a lot of sellers come to Aura specifically and they're like, hey, I want to win more of the buy box and increase my sales. I'm like, great, you should probably consider repricing below by a penny. They're like, oh, I don't know. That's frowned upon. I'm like, well, yeah, but if you think about it, it's taking advantage of Amazon's algorithm, right? And so what we do instead, because a lot of people are like, oh, you're just going to tank the price. Not true. If you just reprice below by a penny, yeah, kind of. But to be honest, what we do is we have Aura designed where whenever you reach your min price, we take you to your max price. So we're resetting the price. Mm-hmm. And so it's a weird shift you have to go through as a seller, which is super interesting. Because once it clicks, it's like a whole new game. And so what you do is you're optimizing for the average profit per unit, not every single one. So some you're going to profit, let's say $4 on the low end. On a few units, you're going to profit, let's say $10 on the high end. But we're trying to maximize the average using what we call an oscillation strategy. So we're using repricing below by penny to increase our velocity, which is awesome. That's what we want. But we're repricing above to drag the buy box back up to ensure that we're not just getting a low price, right? Because we are playing with economics at the end of the day, but we don't want to just tank the price. Now, listen, if you got like 2 units, you should probably just reprice below by penny because you're going to sell those in a matter of like 48 hours instead of a few weeks. And it's, I don't know, it's counterintuitive and it's controversial to say, but I promise you, like, if you start to test a strategy like that, regardless of the tool you're using, and you get to see that tool jump you back to your max, the buy box jumps back up with you, and you're like, wait, this is actually working in all of our favor because we're keeping a nice tight equilibrium, if you will, for that price. And it's awesome. It's great. But yeah, we approach things a little bit differently. That's for sure.
Absolutely. One thing in regards to eBay I wanted to ask you is I just signed up yesterday.
Cool.
Nate actually got me hooked up with the free trial of Aura.
Perfect.
Because he speaks highly of it. He's been doing really well on Amazon using your service. But I noticed when I was going to link my my Amazon account to Aura, there was an eBay option that's like grayed out. Like, leading me to believe that eBay is coming to Aura at some point.
So we were super ambitious when we launched, and we're like, no, we want to do eBay, we want to do Walmart. I think I can officially say at this point that's less of a focus. The reason for that is I would not want to go into a new marketplace that we're both not vastly familiar with. I mean, and they're completely different, right? So we don't want to do that until Amazon is completely optimized for, which it's not. Like, even if you look at your account in the bottom left, it's like version 0.86, not version 1.86, right? And so we're very transparent about like where we are because we're a small team. I mean, there's still 2 of us. We're actually hiring our second engineer hopefully this month or next month. So relatively soon. So we're starting to grow the team because we're bootstrapped. Like, we didn't raise money. We did this with nothing, which is kind of awesome. But we want to make sure that we're providing the best possible solution, and Aura needs to continue to get better. Like, we never believe that a tool is like as is, it's perfect. It should it should always change. Like, literally every single week it should change. And one of our bottlenecks right now is we need another engineer because there's only so much one can do. So we'll most likely get rid of those images, unfortunately, because that was the plan. We're like, no, we're going to go hardcore on repricing across the board. And we realized there's just so much with Amazon, even just like a workflow. Like, we want to build a lot more like automation workflows. So a big thing that we're pushing right now is a feature called workflows. And it's literally just like, you can create your own automations within the tool to basically do all that work for you. So whether it's managing your inventory, assigning strategies, toggling repricing on or off, switching repricing strategies, all that can be automated. So you essentially set up the infrastructure of how you want Aura to handle things as you would have yourself. And then you're good. And it saves you a ton of time. Like, it's great. Because like, I'm a nerd about automation. Like I have Siri shortcuts on my phone. Like, if I can automate it, I probably will. Luckily my girlfriend doesn't watch these, but I literally made a text snippet last night because I tell her good night. And it's the same every single night. So I'm like, I'm just going to create a thing. Like, I put like GN and it text replaces good night the way that I usually do it. I'm like, done. Easy. Saves me some time. Like, it's a nerdy version of it, but I'm like, hey, it works. But we want to bring those things. Like, we consider ourselves more of an automation tool than a repricing tool, oddly enough. That's where we want a lot of our focus to be on. But I'm curious, because you're like fresh in Aura, what do you like and what do you hate? Let's talk about what you hate too. I like these more.
As far as what I hate, I can't really say there's anything yet because I haven't used it enough. One thing I really liked was Nate was kind of walking me through it yesterday after our show, and he had brought me through the custom repricing strategies, and I just thought that was really cool because the only other repricer I've ever used is Excelco through repricer.com. And they didn't, to my knowledge at least, they didn't have anything as in depth as what you guys have as far as choosing options and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
I could be wrong because I know Nate tried that in the past too when he first started before he found Aura. But yeah, I've never, I just thought it was really cool that I could customize it to my needs and, kind of my strategy and Amazon and everything like that. So I really like that.
Yeah, it's a weird way, or it's a weird balance that me personally have had to get comfortable because we're new in software. And we're like a year old now, but still, where you want to give so much flexibility and control to users without it being overwhelming, because you're always going to have like a bell curve of users where some are like, I want to do everything. I'm a power user. Then you have some sellers that are like, hey, I don't know, just kind of give me a pre-configured strategy. I just want to click a button and be done. And so you got to find that balance of giving that control without it being like daunting. So hopefully we do a good job. I think we can do a better job with that. But that's good. That's good to hear.
We got a question from Eric. He said, I heard a lot of people don't like how Aura handles the suppressed buy box. Can you explain the strategy?
So this one actually I haven't heard as frequent. So I've actually kind of heard the opposite, and I'll explain. So you can set Aura to automatically handle suppressed buy boxes. The way you do this, this was actually not built in. We just kind of realized logically it works. So if your competition type, so actually what Aura looks at to change your price against your competitors, you can set that to only buy box, which means that you're actually not targeting a seller. You're just targeting whichever offer is in the buy box at the moment. We then, under the pursuit section, have a setting called when there is no competition. Now, if you replace the word competition with your actual competition type, it changes a few things. And what I mean by that is it reads a little bit different, right? So if my competition type is only buy box, my competition then is the buy box. So not when there are no competition or no competitors, but when there is no buy box. So what we have it do, and this is completely in your control too, by the way, you don't have to do this. We set it to a custom price, your current price, and then it lowers by 2 pennies every 2 to 3 minutes until the one of two things happen. You either one, reach your min price, in which case you're stuck there. And that means or Amazon did not give you the buy box. Or two, you reactivate the buy box, in which case you just go back to repricing as normal. So we like baking that into strategies, because if a buy box becomes suppressed for an hour, you still want something to happen. You don't want to just kind of sit there and be like, we'll see. So we know that typically a suppressed buy box has to do with a high price. So how do you normally combat that? Well, you begin to lower your price systematically. Now, we don't want to jump it down. We don't want to jump to your min price because you might be giving up a lot of profit. So we just lower it 2 pennies every 2 to 3 minutes until we reach that. Now that 2 pennies, completely up to you. You might want to do 1 penny. You might want to do $1. You might even want to do a percentage, right? So you might want to do a 0.25% every 2 to 3 minutes until that happens. Some people might not like that, but again, that's not a default thing. You can actually say, hey, when there's no buy box, don't reprice. Just hold me where I'm at. Good. Or you can say, and I've seen some sellers utilize this strategy. It doesn't work as well, in my opinion, just from the data, but it can. When the buy box is suppressed, just go to my max price. Just sit there. I'm cool with it being suppressed. I'm still going to get sales, right? So I think it depends and it's situational. But ideally, what we've seen, and again, you got to keep in mind too, like sample size, right? So us having thousands of people to look at data on, we can look at, okay, how does this work generally versus just one person by themselves? And we've seen when we can handle a suppressed buy box automatically by slowly lowering it, it works really well. But I'd be curious to know like why those people don't like how Aura can handle, because again, it doesn't have to. I'd be curious to hear why they don't like that. But again, you can change that, so that's always good, right? we don't want to prescribe like a workflow and be like, haha, here's how you handle suppressed buy boxes. Like if you want to, and it makes sense, but you don't have to. So.
Right, like if you don't want to deal with that or have that happen, you could turn it off. That's why I like that. Yeah. There's been a couple cases where the buy box got turned on. The listing went from suppressed to not. And then I sold out of an item like that. So I was okay with losing a little bit of profit and selling all those items and getting my cash flow back and turning my profit versus I might sell 1 or 2 a month or whatever the case is, because that's what happened with the price before you implemented that strategy or added that to your repricer. They just sat and I was winning, but I wasn't selling. Now I'm selling, because I think a lot of people on Amazon, when they're the shoppers, they see that and it's just like there's something wrong with the listing, or now it's like, oh no, we're scared that this is going to be like a different experience than what we're used to with Amazon. Like, I think that's what what kind of mindset they get when they see that you can buy from other buyers. I kind of don't understand why they do that too. Well, I guess I can and I can't, but you would think they would just like kind of let it roll, and just do it like they normally do. But I guess it also protects them, saying, hey, these other sellers are pricing way too high, but if you want to buy them, go ahead and do it, so. Yeah,
in my mind, they're essentially lowering their risk, right? Because if you look at what they want the best offer for a customer. That's all they care about. So if that's supposed to go the opposite way, well, they use behavioral dynamics to just say, listen, if you're going to do that, you can, and that's totally fine. We're not going to keep you from getting sales, but we're just going to turn off the buy box. We're going to lower the amount of sales you could get. And so naturally you go, well, crap, I need to lower my price, right? So you fit within their ecosystem. Something to keep in mind too, because you mentioned something that, and I love talking about this, is, we use certain words wrong in our industry, right? So like, if, as an example, let's say your price is at $50, it's not really selling. We lower it to $45. Normally we would say, I lost $5 in profit, but actually you did it. You lost $5 in opportunity, but I make the argument that you holding your price at 50 and getting 0 sales did not yield you any profit, because you actually got no sales, right? So you actually yielded 0 profit. There was opportunity, but no actual transaction. But lowering your price to 45, and that's a big jump, and getting sales actually yielded cash flow profits in your bank account, right? And so this is something that's super interesting, because if you can get over this mental barrier of, if I lower my price 20 cents, but I can increase the velocity of sales by 20%, I make more money in total. Makes sense, right? Like, you're really not giving up much. You gave up 20 cents per unit, but you increase the velocity or the volume of your sales. In total, when you do that math, you made more money. But for whatever reason, we're really stuck on, but I gave up 20 cents per unit. I don't like that. But like, why? You made more money, right? Like, that was the whole point. It's normal. It's just in the conversations we have in our communities, whether it's a Facebook group, YouTube channel, whatever, this is kind of a normal conversation. But I think if we can start to tweak the conversation and really clarify what we're talking about, right? Because you didn't lose profit, you lost some opportunity, but really you weren't getting sales, so it was kind of irrelevant, right? So actually you made more money by lowering your price a little bit. It's just economics, right? But I have a lot of sellers where they'll jump in, or I might lower it by 20 cents because that's where the buy box went, by the way. But they made more money in total. But they're like really stuck on that 20 cents. They're like, no, man, I gave up 20 cents per unit. I'm like, yeah, but you made an extra like $200. So, you gave up, but you won, I promise.
Like, especially with like how the, like storage and stuff is for fourth quarter right now.
I was just going to say that.
Like I had $120 storage fee just this past month. Like, if I didn't use a repricer and I was like, I'm just going to hold or, and let it sit, God only knows what my storage fees would have been this month. You know what I mean? Like you said, I'd rather drop my price a little bit, not a huge, like, I'm gonna
you don't want to tank it.
My opportunity should have been 40, I took 20, nothing like that. But like,
exactly.
Like, that's, a lot of people think like, oh, when you use the repricer, you're basically gonna lose all your profit. You set it at what you're happy with, the lowest you want to take and the highest you want to take. And then you just let it play, and you just kind of watch how it goes and how sales are. You see what your competition is doing, and you kind of just play the game like that. It turns reselling into a game, and I love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it should, fun. Right? And it should be fun. And that's a good point about min prices. You should, because I get a lot of questions like, Dylan, how do I set those? I mean, you can automatically set them based off an ROI. So I love this conversation. This only happened like twice, but this was like early on when we started. A user had set it at 20% ROI. It had 2 units sell at 20% ROI, and they were like, "Hey, I'm losing money." You physically, like, you mathematically can't. Like, is that 20% ROI? Like, you made 20% ROI.
Right.
Again, that conversation matters, right? But what's interesting and what I started to recommend is, don't just set it at a certain value that you think is appropriate based off best practices. I have a lot of sellers reach out and they're like, hey, what do you recommend? I'm like, here's kind of a general idea, but it's different for every seller. What you have to keep in mind, regardless of if you're automatically setting those or manually setting those, you should set these min prices specifically at a price point of which you would be happy to accept a sale, not begrudgingly, happy. Yeah. Because the likelihood of that happening is there. It's absolutely there. It's not a guarantee that, because again, we're not trying to tank the prices, but we're playing within a min and a max range. Anything between here is free game.
Yeah.
Right. And again, if we're using like an oscillation strategy, we can use these boundaries to control volume, which is really awesome and very important. That range really, in my mind, and what works really well is like $3 to $5, right? So if your min's 20 and you're happy getting $20 on the low end, set a max of like 23 to 25 if you're using this oscillation strategy. It's very easy, I think, for a lot of us, especially like in the reseller specific community, where you see like high ROI, like, oh, that person got like 1,300%. So you feel the need to get like this super high ROI, so you're willing to hold inventory much longer than you should. Churn rate is incredibly important for a physical products business, cash flow, right? So again, if I can lower my price even $1, which may seem like a lot, but I can move 1.5 times the amount of inventory, again, I still made money, right? And that's good. I really, so I come from the wholesale background. I want my inventory, by the time it gets checked in, I want it to be sold within 2 weeks. Yeah. I want that. And we're talking like high volumes too, right? Like, so my churn rates, I want to be super high. That's the cool thing about repricing with 1 to 5 units. Reprice below by a penny. You're going to move it instead of 3 weeks. You're going to move it in like less than a week. And you're not hurting a listing. You're really not. I mean, if you really look at it from a data standpoint and you graph it out like we're able to do, it goes like this. That's why we call it an oscillation strategy. The buy box literally goes up and down like a normal market would. We're just taking advantage of that. That's all we want to do. But again, if you can get over those mental hurdles of what repricing below by a penny means, it's a game changer. I've seen people reach out in our support channel and just be like, hey, I was kind of worried about doing this. It went against everything I've been told, and I did it, and it's completely changed the business. And it's hurt nobody. That's great too, right? Because we're a bunch of nerds. Like, we're not like confrontational people. We're not like, kill the competition. It's just, hey, like you have a business and you have goals that you want to achieve, whether that's leaving your job or supporting your family, whatever that happens to be. Hey, let's take this a little bit more seriously and utilize the tools that are at your disposal to help you reach that goal. And that's, for at least for me, or really just for us as a team, like that's where the fun is. Like that's exciting. So
for me with Amazon, like I'm newer to Amazon. Like Nate's really won me over to Amazon because for a while there, like I was just eBay and might have done a little cross posting to Macari. So when I first started Amazon, I didn't want any of the bells and whistles. I just kind of wanted to, get in and just kind of get my feet wet and kind of learn before I started adding things. But from the very first time I did a free trial of a repricer, like I will never not have a repricer again. Just seeing like the volume of stuff. Like right now, like I was telling Nate, the biggest problem I have as a new Amazon seller is keeping inventory in Amazon because it's selling out quicker than I can send it in because of the repricer. It's not because of anything I'm doing. I'm just packaging stuff and sending it into the warehouse. And the repricer's doing the work because like I was like Nate can tell you, I was like my stuff was just sitting there before I had the repricer, and then I got the repricer, and it's flying out of the warehouse now. And it's regardless of the tool, right? So if we can even get rid of like Aura in the conversation, just talk like repricing tools. I would rather you use any repricing tool than not use one, period. Like on average, you're going to see like 10 to 20% increase in sales just using a repricing tool. And think about it, like, I'm a dork. I can type pretty fast. But what I can't do is reprice 3,000 units per minute. I can't physically do that. There's no way for me to do that.
but Aura can. Well, that's pretty nice. Like, so you get to a point where, you know, I've said for the past like 2 to 3 years, every Tuesday night we do like a Facebook Live in our Facebook group. We do like live sourcing Q&A stuff for wholesale, but I've always said you need to be spending 80+% of your time on the things that generate revenue. Whether you're wholesale, your retail arbitrage, it doesn't matter. It has to do with sourcing. Whether that's talking with brands, if you're wholesale, or you're out there sourcing products. That's what gives you profit. I mean, that's really it, right? Like if you don't have inventory, you can't do anything. So as quickly as you can hand over administrative tasks, that's what we want to call them, to a tool or to somebody else, it does help, right? So if repricing is taking you an hour a day, what if we can get rid of that hour completely, and then that hour now goes towards sourcing? You don't have a sourcing problem anymore, most likely, right? At least it's easier because you have more capacity. Or heck, you don't want to source more. You just want to spend an extra hour with your family. Done. Yeah. Like, and that's what we want. Like, that's what drives us to build tools. Because we also built BinDrive.com, which is a CRM tool for wholesalers. And that was like the first tool we ever built. And it's clarifying and simplifying the entire equation. Like, I see what's coming down the pipeline in 3 to 5 years for tech that's going to hit our industry, and it's awesome stuff. I mean, it's hardware automation. It's oddly enough robotics in like prep centers. It's smart tools that humans shouldn't be doing a lot of tasks. Like, I'm a millennial, so I'm very optimistic about this stuff, but it might certainly be just Terminator status. We're not sure yet, but we're about it. But my idea is, like, there's so many things that you do that are tedious and takes a lot of time, but a computer could absolutely do it. Like placing restock orders with wholesalers, that should be automated completely. There's no reason. The logic, the forecasting is already digitized. You're just making a decision. But what's interesting is how you make decisions. You can quantify that. It's very simple. Here's how I make decisions. Great. Hand that to a computer. Let it do it for you. I never place restock orders now. Like, that's what we want, right? Yeah. Now that's just wholesale specific. RA, there's things for that too. Whether that's prepping, whether that's shipping, whether that's just managing the entire ecosystem that is your Amazon account through repricing and what have you, right? It might be analytics. You know, maybe we have a tool that analyzes your entire sales history and goes, hey, this one SKU is pretty cyclical. Oh, by the way, that's coming up next month. You should really be aware of that. So maybe you can start talking with the manager of the store early on to see if you can actually get them to purchase a bit more for you and give you a pallet instead of like 10 boxes. Yeah. Like those little things, those little optimizations, one, they save you a ton of time, but they can be incredibly profitable. And all you have to do is execute on that data. Like, that's pretty fun. We're a few years out, but I mean, I was talking with Scott, the bearded picker, and we were talking about Teslas, and I was like, because of course I'm all about this stuff. He's like, I don't know. I was like, but you don't have to drive, so that saves you time. So you could read. He's like, dude, I could be in a car going from store to store, and I could be sourcing and doing research in the car while that's happening instead of focusing on driving. I was like, right. So that would make you more money, right? He's like, theoretically, yes. I'm like, okay, that's why these things are cool, right? Like, outside of just being like a dork, like these can be tools, right? Yeah. It's fun, man. That's the stuff that gets me excited. So
yeah, and even speaking to that, Kelly just had a comment. She says, I don't think I'll ever get a repricer. I don't like someone or something messing with my prices because I'm a control freak. The nice thing about it is, and like I said, I'm newer. Like I've been on Amazon less than 2 months, but in trying these free trials, and I would even suggest just do a 2-week trial or whatever it is for free without any kind of like commitment or anything, Kelly, because you set the parameters. Like, say for example,
you are in control.
Again, I'll use the goof off because I'm sitting right here. Like if I were to say, you know, I spend $3 on this, the lowest I'd be willing to take is say $5. But then I could also set the price up to $7 or $8 or whatnot. And then the repricer would do all that for you. And instead of maybe selling one of these like every couple weeks, like I would sell out within that same time frame.
Yeah, so you absolutely still, because I'm that way too. I'm slightly OCD. So I want control as well, right? And that's kind of how we designed it to where, you get to control. Like there's some things built in, obviously, like at the ground level that you can't. But in terms of like how Aura reprices your inventory, that's up to you, and that you can change that at any moment. If you're, let's say, automatically setting min prices at 20% ROI, and you're like, that's not enough, I want 30. Change that, hit save. That bleeds over into everything, and Aura will update that within a few minutes, and you're good. So yeah, you still get it. There's always this, like, especially like for me when I got started with repricers too, like the first time I used them, because I pushed them off for like a year. I did it. It was really kind of overwhelming because I had those same concerns, and then I did it and I was like, I would never not use one. I mean, this is ridiculously, it's great. But yeah, to your point, like jump into a 14-day trial, which we have. You don't have to toggle on all your listings, toggle on 10. Create a strategy. I'll work with you and support, by the way, to help you do that. Don't feel like you're alone. And toggle on 10 listings. See if you like it. If you hate it, cancel. We don't have, it's called a gated versus an ungated trial. So we do not have a gated trial, meaning that we don't require a credit card to sign up for a trial. You just sign up. It's free. Connect your stuff. We'll help you out. You get full reign of everything. We don't suppress any kind of features. You get the full effect. See if you like it, and if you don't, let us know. No hard feelings, all good. But if you like it, like, hey, I want to continue. Awesome. Here's how you do that. Nice and easy. But certainly, like, and I think that's a good point that kind of came up in my mind is repricing is not for everybody. There are some sellers that it's not a good fit. Whether that's just Aura, which is certainly can be the case. Like if you're heavy on books, like heavy used books, I would actually say don't use Aura. Like we're not optimized for it. We're not perfect for it. You're going to have some listings that do okay, but Amazon still has this weird like top 20 API issue where basically there's just so many merchant fulfilled sellers within the top 20 or the lowest 20 offers. We can't see the buy box via the API. And, we try to be transparent about that. And that's the majority of repricing tools, unfortunately. But Amazon needs to fix that and take it from 20 to 50. That would help a little bit. But some people just, repricing is not their jam, and that's okay. Like don't feel like you have to, but I would certainly try. Like get in there, try it. Try 3 different tools, not at the same time. It's fun to watch when like 2 repricing tools fight on the same listing, but not when it's your inventory. But try a bunch, right? A lot of the cool thing about our space is you can experiment with stuff with relatively low risk, right? Because you don't have to go all in or nothing, right? You can test a little bit, kind of go here or there and see what makes sense and see what you like and see what you hate.
Like Kelly says, she only goes for 100% ROI or higher. On my average sales for the last 30 days, I'm at 155% ROI using Aura as a repricer, and that's using everything. So I mean, just because like you get these items and you say your minimum is 100% you want to make on that, set that as your minimum price and set X amount as your max price. And just let the repricer rock out and go. There's an item that I buy for 79 cents, and let me look up the data real quick. I made 279% ROI on it. Like that's amazing. And I sold 80 SKUs of that from November 10th all the way up to yesterday. And I just sent in 104 more that hit the warehouse today. Or yesterday, I should say. So
I said 20%, and everybody was like, "Wait, what?" I'm used to wholesale ROIs, by the way. So don't, if you're used to like 100, 200, 300% ROIs on the low end, don't freak out. That's just because I'm a wholesale guy and I'm used to like 20 to 50% being normal. So don't freak out.
Yeah, I think most people, because a lot of people are like even eBay people where they're used to. For me, the biggest thing going from eBay to Amazon was, okay, now I'm not spending $1 hoping to get $20. I'm spending $1 hoping to get $1 or $2. You know what I mean? So that's been like the biggest like curve in my sourcing and
it's different
expectations. But once you understand the game and the fact that you're going to be, instead of selling, that one item for $20 that you're sitting on for, potentially a couple months, you're going to be selling multiple items for $2, probably surpassing that one for 20 in, many times over by the time that one would sell.
Yeah. I think it shifts a little bit from the flipper mentality because that's going to be very much low volume. I'm willing to wait for a while because the ROI is ridiculous, right? However, with Amazon, it's more like the fulfillment, right? Like
Yep.
I can't necessarily set my price. The buy box, the market's going to do that. But if I have an arbitrage moment here, well, as many as I can get shipped in here, we can sell, right? So it's more of a volume churn. And that's why I said churn earlier is super important. It's a volume game, right? Whether that's wide with SKUs or that's deep in SKUs, either way, overall, it's a volume-based thing. So Kelly, great question. So I use Inventory Lab. How does it work with that? So we just recently, as of a few months ago, integrated with Inventory Lab. That was like a 6-month ordeal for us to get that, which was kind of awesome. So right now, it's super simple. You log into your Aura account and your Inventory Lab account and go to integrations within both pages, and you just click one toggle within both pages. Done. So the way it works, we're currently only importing your active cost per unit, so that will update. We're not pulling in min-maxes currently. We wanted to get the Inventory Lab costs pulled in and integrated immediately. So min-max is a little bit more troublesome, just some of the decisions we have to make or allow you to make, so it's a little bit more complex. Costs are relatively simple. And so what we do is once a day, Inventory Lab generates a cost file. That cost file then gets imported by Aura. We apply those, we're good to go. So what we like to do for like a workflow is as soon as you complete a shipment in Seller Central, I'll say within an hour, it can range because it's up to Amazon's side of things. We'll import that listing into Aura. You can then apply a strategy, toggle on repricing. And if you're automatically assigning a min price based off your cost, but you don't have it, that's okay. You can toggle it on. Aura will not actually reprice unless there's a min price. Otherwise, technically it's $0 and we don't really want to do that, right?
Right.
So what's cool is it's ready to go. It's like it's on the springboard, but as soon as Inventory Lab sends us the cost, we update that, we recalculate, it's repricing. So you can streamline the workflow while you're using Aura, which is pretty cool. And again, a lot of this is going to be automated within the next few months, I would say. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. We don't sync costs. This has been some confusion where people think, okay, if I put a cost in on Aura side, it'll go to Inventory Lab. We're not. We're only importing costs, right? Because we want the cost in the Inventory Lab to be what we call a single source of truth, right? Like that's where it's housed. That's most accurate. We just reflect what's here. So that's how we do that right now. But there's no extra charge. I know some tools will charge extra, either as an add-on or a higher price tier for integrations. We don't do any of that. We just integrate. It makes a lot more sense, and it makes our jobs easier too. Saves you some time, which is kind of nice. But if you want to pull in min-maxes, because that's part of your workflow, you can actually export a close.
Oh.
We might have lost them. Yeah, Kelly, Inventory Lab getting synced with Aura is one reason why I actually probably want to, start using it. I think he's
Sorry about that. My internet decided to switch off. That was fun. So what I was saying is, if you do want to import your min maxes from Inventory Lab, because that is a normal workflow for a lot of people, you can export a closed batch report and just drag that onto the uploads page and hit submit. And then Aura will parse through that entire file, add your costs, mins, maxes, and you'll be good to go. So we can automate it, but you can also import if you want to. So you got some options there.
Yeah, I think it's really cool how you guys have that all synced together with, with Inventory Lab, and there's another one as well.
Inventory Source, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Yeah, so they're more like a drop shipping company. We had a few users reach out, and that seemed to be a relatively easy integration. It was like our first integration, so we're like, hey, let's test it and see what works. We're wanting to go more heavy on the integration side. We're about to do a rebuild here shortly. It's going to help a little bit as well. And I mean, there's like 15 other companies we want to integrate with, so it's going to get pretty fun. If you can add on a bunch of integrations on top of automation features, there's really not much more for you to do, which is kind of nice, right? You just get to free up more of your time. Because it's a hustle as is. Let's go ahead and make it easier for you. So that's kind of the way we're approaching it.
I mean, just hearing this guy talk and all the knowledge he has, that was one thing that drew me to want to join, because I know he's going, and he resells, like he's on Amazon selling, so he's going to want to make his repricer the most seamless, running, and have all the new features and everything else. And the one thing that I like the most, like for example, today I sent him a message about something, and he hopped on, messaged me back, and not only that, he went into a Zoom chat and we talked one-on-one. Not just some guy or some person in China or whatever the case is, or someone you can't understand. I'm talking with this guy, and he'll help you and walk you through everything. And I mean, how many companies, especially in this day and age, do you get that type of customer service with? He was very quick doing it. It wasn't like I had to wait 24 hours. I literally had to wait like 5 minutes. He probably was getting coffee because it was really early this morning. And I mean, it's just amazing. So, I mean,
I sent a message on the website today too, and Dylan's the one that actually responded to it in 4 minutes.
Yeah, I literally do our customer support, by the way. So there's literally 2 of us. We don't outsource anything. When we started the company, we didn't this is not a cash flow thing for us, by the way. Hopefully that's apparent. There was 2 other repricing tools that started when we launched, and it was very apparent which ones actually wanted to do this versus which ones just wanted to make some money. And so when we sat down, we're like, what's going to be different about us? Obviously performance, that's the driver. But it's customer support. I know what it's like to be a seller, and I know what customer support in our industry is like, and it's kind of garbage. So let's change that. And being so focused on efficiency, on streamlining, on automation has enabled us, and primarily me, to do that. I mean, we have a lot of users, and I personally handle all of that on top of everything else. I'm also full-time in college in my second to last semester as a finance major. We got you covered. We're very efficient with our time. And there's no reason not to be. And so, as we move into hiring, yes, somebody will replace me as a customer support rep, but that's not going to be outsourced. That's going to be a person that is on our team that is a full-time employee, and they will understand our brand tone, which just means how do we talk to our users? We use emojis, we use GIFs, Nate, it's like a text, it's like a conversation, right? It's pretty straightforward. Keep it simple, keep it easy. Talk to you like you're a human, imagine that. And that's going to be carried over, and that's the expectation. And so we don't have what's called a SLA, which is just an agreement, like a service level agreement. So some companies, if you pay them, let's say $4,000 a month for a tool, they'll have an SLA of, let's say, we'll have an average response rate of an hour to get to you. We don't have one of those because we're $97 a month, but we do internally. I've said that. And so every single week I run a report for our customer support, which again, it's just me, but yes, I'm running the report, and I look at what's the median response time. If it's at or below 10 minutes, I'm happy. Now that's the average. That's not going to be 24/7, and that's only between business hours. But if it spikes above 10 minutes, I'm very unhappy, and I know what's the problem, and I look to solve that problem, right? Because at the end of the day, I know how stressful this whole ordeal is, and how stressful it can be, especially during Q4. When something is going wrong, or you just don't know what's happening, and you just need help, you feel kind of helpless, and you're like, hey, I don't know. And that's a lot of anxiety, and it's a lot of added stress that really shouldn't be there. So yeah, I want to respond really quickly and let you know, hey, you got a nerdy guy on the other end of the computer here that's going to look into this and figure it out for you. And we're going to do that as quickly as possible. And I say we're relatively good at doing that, but we can always do a better job. But we look at writing, help desk articles, so you don't have to rely upon us either, right? If you want to learn how to do something, we have a whole help section as well. So we try to afford as much as we can on the support side. Good one, Eric. So can you have a default strategy as soon as a shipment is created, a strategy is assigned? Yes. So if you are logged into your account, you go to the marketplaces page, and you'll see your marketplace there as a card. Towards the right, you'll see a drop-down menu, and that's your default strategy. So you can click the drop-down, assign that, and moving forward, or it will automatically assign that to new SKUs as they become, or new listings as they get pulled into Aura as your default strategy. Now, it will not automatically toggle on repricing. That we have not enabled. I was just talking with our team, basically James, because it's me and James right now, about having it set to where you can, for that marketplace, automatically toggle on repricing. So that's going to be coming. But right now you can automatically assign a strategy, but you will need to still enable repricing for each listing. Not ideal, but it's kind of like a safety measure. But we'll make it to where you can kind of decide if you want that or not.
Yeah, because like for example, like say I made a shipment the other day, and the second I said that I was done with my shipment, made my stickers and everything like that, 15 minutes later I go into Aura, my items are already in there, and the only thing I had to do was put in my minimum cost, and then I could set my min max so I know what it's going to be. Once they hit the warehouse, like where it's finally first checked in, that's when you'll see the profit of what it's at currently, where it would be exactly what you listed it at, and then that's when I decide, okay, I want it to be $5 to $10, or whatever the case is, and then that's when you could select your strategy and turn on your repricer. So say you do some merch fulfill, you can choose a merch fulfill strategy, or maybe you want to be a little more different on this item. You can have a separate strategy for a specific set of items if you wanted to versus most of your items. So it gives you, I mean, the customability and the feel and the features of Aura is what I like. I get to see, I can go in there every day and see, oh, I made $1,000 this week profit. My cost of my inventory was this. I made this much profit. My ROI is this. My profit margins was this. I can look at all that with just like this, and it goes from 30 days to 7 days. It lets you choose those features, or those your statistics of it.
Yeah, and again, we want to automate like a lot of what you just said. We want to automate, right? Because you just gave me your process, right? Like, because you just told me that process, I can now bake that into an infrastructure or an automated kind of rule set that handles that for you, right? So it might say, hey, if the SKU contains MF, all caps, that's my merchant fulfilled. I want you to apply strategy A, which is my merchant fulfilled strategy for me. And if that's automatically calculating your mins and maxes based off how you like to do that for that strategy, well, that's already done for you. So all you had to do was create that rule in Aura, ship things in via inventory lab, assuming that's what you use. And because you ship things into the inventory lab, everything else just happened because of that. It's this wonderful flow where, you'll be able to get more done by not doing more, which is kind of great. Like, that's what ideally we want, right? Like I make the joke all the time that I'm effectively lazy. And not in like the traditional millennial way. Like, I work my ass off, if I'm allowed to say that here. But I mean, I work like 80 plus hours a week. And the point is that why I say effectively is because I don't want to waste my time. I want to do high leverage tasks, right? I want to be talking with suppliers. I want to be studying for an exam that I got. I want to be handling customer support. That's way more important than little administrative tasks. So I'm going to automate the rest of it, right? I don't like to waste my time, and nobody should. There's some things you obviously have to do, but there's a lot we can help you kind of shift off your plate, and that's the exciting part of 2020 for us. Like that's I'm excited. Like, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, like
automation, Eric, I love that.
For the like, say, like, you already have your pricing strategy in or whatever, and you have your min and max figured out. You just can you could do bulk toggle off and on as well, so to make sure their whole page is turned on. And then it has, like, if something's missing, say you don't have a minimum price, which some of my earliest items that I have or whatever, I have like 20 items that I didn't have I'm in min price because I don't sell them anymore. It'll show up 20 items, how many you're low on stock on, how many you're out of stock on, how many do you need a max price on, your cost price, which I have all mine done. It really is a great. I love how the dashboard look. It's really great.
Thanks. And we want to come out with like a mobile app too. We realized it's going to cost obviously a decent amount to get it designed because we want it to look good. And we're not like mobile developers, but it's relatively simple to do. So hopefully we'll be the first repricing tool to have a mobile app, which will be kind of cool. So if you're out and about and you're like, hey, I just want to handle this real quick, pull out your phone, toggle on repricing, assign the strategy, move on. It's all good. So some stuff like that, a little bit more mobile friendly kind of setup, which will be nice. Because right now although you can log in on an iPad using Chrome, it's not optimized for mobile at all. So, hit or miss there, but browser, you're good. But we want some more stuff like that, which is pretty fun. It makes life easier.
Yeah, like when I send my orders in, like most of the time, if they come in stock, like yesterday, for example, I checked and seen my Amazon order got accepted and it was in the warehouse and it was getting checked in. I'm able to now go in there and, turn on my Repricer all the way on those items and start getting sales right away. So I could still do that through the browser, but having the mobile app, it would just, be really, really, really nice.
Right. It's just more convenient, right?
Yeah.
I mean, which is kind of cool. I feel like we're getting to a point where you can run an entire company from an iPad, which is kind of an interesting concept, but we'll see. I think it's pretty cool. Another thing you can use if you want a little bit more control over things, which a lot of people don't know about this. If you are on the uploads page and you hover over the generate button, you can download what's called a pre-filled Aura template. That is literally a drop of all your current listing data, all your SKUs, the ASINs, the cost, what fulfillment type they are, everything. What's interesting though, and that just, you open that in Google Sheets or Excel, you can make changes to a few columns. So when a user is like, hey, I have 5,000 listings, I need to apply the strategy really quickly, or all my costs are $5. I need to do that for all of 5,000 in like 10 minutes. What I'll do is I'll download, and you can do this, but usually I'll just do it for a user. I'll download that, delete the columns that we don't need, because there's like 13 columns. Keep the marketplace ID, the SKU column, because that's super important. And let's say I want to apply a strategy, assign a cost, and toggle on repricing in that one file. I can do that. So I can literally have SKU, marketplace ID, I'll have costs, which I can just put them in there. Or if I have them stored in another file, I can do that too. The fourth one, I'll put a strategy ID. So the header for that is just strategy _ ID, which if you're on your strategy page, you'll see there's a little blue text. It looks like an encrypted string of text. That's the strategy ID. So you can copy that, put that in those cells, drag it down, and then the fifth one's going to be repricing _ enabled, and you set that to all caps true. So when I save that file, I add it to the uploads page and hit submit. Once it's done processing, it'll apply a strategy, take a cost, and if I'm automatically assigning my min and maxes, it'll do that, of course, too, automatically, and then toggle on repricing. So if you got to do this like in bulk, you're like, hey, Dylan, I got like 10,000 SKUs, I need to do this quick. That's what we're going to do, and you can do that yourself. So what's cool is because it's in Excel, granted I'm a finance major, but there's a lot of like nice functions in Excel you can utilize to be able to make some calculations for you. So if you want to manually set your min prices and you like to, let's say, set them $10 above your cost, well, you can have a little formula under the min price section in that file that just says, take my cost cell, multiply or add $10 to it, drag that all the way down, upload it into Aura, and that change is done for you. So if you really want to get like advanced with it and have some fun, because talking about like having a ton of control, that alone is like, that's a config file. Like you change, at least on the columns that can be changed, make those changes, upload it, it's done. It'll save you a ton of time. Those are always kind of fun to do.
Nice. I have a bit of a customer service type question for you.
Let's do it. I like it.
My account is set up. I'm linked on the Amazon side.
Okay.
I just I have no idea where to find my seller ID from Amazon to connect the marketplace to Aura.
So when you're going through the connection process, we're going to take you to Seller Central. You're going to hit, approve next, and then it's going to give you, I want to say it's like 8 or 9 like lines. So you're going to see seller ID. You're going to see MWS auth token. Those are the two things that we need. So what you're going to do is you're going to copy the seller ID. And if it is connected, I can actually pull that for you. But if it's not, obviously we won't be able to.
Yeah.
It should start with like cap A. It starts with a capital A. And
do you know where I would find that on the Amazon side?
On the Amazon side, no. Well, I'm trying to think here. I can pull it. So is your marketplace already connected to Amazon or to Aura? I'm sorry. In any way?
Yes, it's already connected to Aura. It's just I haven't gone through and connected the marketplace on the Aura side. If that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Amazon has permissions to give like you the data, but you don't know, I guess, the token and his seller ID. That's what he needs.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we're going to do this live.
Don't have the seller ID.
So Anthony, what I want you to do is in your account, just say hey in customer support. I'm gonna actually pull that for you manually real quick.
Okay.
I'll show you how we handle customer support. Because I can actually pull that from our database real quick, which is super helpful.
Cool.
Because oddly enough, Amazon, this is super annoying, and they will do this. Like MWS will, oddly enough, they'll just like sever the connection. No reason, they just do it. And so we have to like reconnect the marketplace, which is super annoying, but we've gotten pretty quick at doing it. But as soon as that comes through, I'll actually run an automation to pull it. Haha. Speaking of automation, got to geek out a little bit.
Yeah, it's cool that you can do that. You would think on Amazon's side it'd be a lot easier to find a seller ID. At first, I thought that was my store name or whatnot, but
no. So it's kind of like an encrypted. It's not necessarily encrypted, but it looks like it, kind of thing. But I'll send you how we do the reconnection process. I'll respond back to you with like the process of how to do it real quick too.
Okay, cool.
But I'll also pull that so you'll have access to it. So in your Aura account, if you want to do that now.
Yeah, I've already sent you today.
Bam. All right, so watch this. I'm gonna hit this, updating that. That just got sent over. Now I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna run an automation to pull it. So what I just sent you is going to be the actual process for the reconnection. So if you ever get disconnected, that's how you're going to go through and update that.
Awesome.
And then I'll post your seller ID. Oh, I got you. Okay, so let me pull that. Yep, that's good. Okay, I see. Interesting. Okay. So you added it on the Seller Central side, but not.
Yes.
Gotcha. So that's going to be the issue. That's going to be it. So we actually don't have access to any of the data.
Okay.
So what you're going to do, and I'm going to send you a specific link in support. So if you click on that link and hit add marketplace, we'll walk you through that process of what to do. And then towards the end, like we'll redirect you via a link to Seller Central. You'll click, I want to say it's like approve the next, and then it'll give you your Amazon seller ID and then an MWS auth token. You're going to copy both of those, go back to Aura, paste those in the respective fields, hit connect, and you should get a blue little pop-up. But as soon as that happens, I'll be able to see that on my end too and let you know if that connection is strong.
Okay. So should I reconnect you guys to my Seller Central?
No, so don't even worry about Seller Central. Okay. Do that all through Aura.
Okay.
Yeah, because for whatever reason, like you can add the permission, but with developers, it's easier if we kind of connect directly because we have an account with MWS, right? So we're an authorized developer. So by doing that, we have a stronger connection. There's less of like stability issues. So that should help a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I see exactly what you mean. It came up with my seller ID there.
Yeah. Perfect.
Gotcha.
Sorry, guys.
That was Aura connecting to Anthony's Repricer.
Yeah, right. That was great timing. That was great timing. Yeah, that reminded me of dial-up for a second. I'm like just old enough to remember dial-up.
Connected now.
Perfect.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Let the sales rain down on you now.
Yeah, right. Like, oh my God. Yeah, okay, cool. So now what's happening in the background is Aura is importing all your listings from Amazon, right? So that might take like 30 minutes to 60 minutes, depending on how many you have. But in the meantime, you can create a strategy, all that good stuff, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
You'll be set.
We created one yesterday. Like we went through and did a custom.
Perfect. Oh, great. Okay, so that's perfect. So that's ready to go. As soon as those get pulled in, you add your cost, min, max prices, which again, if you're using that in the inventory lab, you can just export that and upload it. It'll save you some time and apply that strategy.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Pretty good stuff. Yeah. Don't freak out when it does kick in though. I like getting the screenshots in support when somebody they'll take a screenshot of like Seller Central's app and they'll put an arrow, be like, when I turn on Aura, and then you just see like an incline. I'm like, well, that's good. Yeah, we're doing something right.
That's what's funny because like when he first started, like I told him, I said, well, you don't really have to worry about a repricer yet. Like you definitely want one. Just agree. Wait, stock up, like get some stuff in inventory, get it moved in. You know, you don't want to start with just your first shipment. I'm a very cheap person. I worry about costs about a lot of things because I want to maximize my profits.
Yes.
So, at first I was like, sending some stuff, then he was like, man, like I'm not really getting any sales. I'm like, okay, it's time to do Repricer because I started having doubts in my like expert advice I was trying to give him, or not really expert, but I was trying to give him my friendly advice, like the stuff exactly I would buy, or I wouldn't buy because he did, because we went sourcing together, like we're close enough where we can actually do that. Cool. And I was telling him like, yeah, go ahead, get this, get that, and then he did, and he's like, man, I haven't gotten really any sales, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I hope I didn't like screw him. Then I'm like, dude,
I totally get it. Yeah.
I said, just get a Repricer, try one out. To try this one on. I used it first. I said it's way too much, but just try it anyway. And then I knew I wanted him to try Aura because that's what I use, and I just love the look. The like I said, now you have integration with it and everything else. So that it's really honestly the one I recommend getting over anybody else, and that's why I've been been staying with you guys. And customer service wise, having to wait an hour depending on your seller. Could be thousands of dollars in sales. Now that wouldn't be me, for example, because I don't do that much. But still, I'm losing out on money every minute. Like, say I would have an issue, like for example, like with Anthony, for example, like he hasn't had a price for a day. I'm sure his sales have hit an all-time low compared to what from before the repricer to now. Like his guarantee is all-time low. So now today, I'm sure he'll be back to normal. Doing sales depending on what he has in his account. So
that's good. And it's important to know when you shouldn't use tools, because again, I've been a seller. So like, I know how it's easy to get to a point where you're like, why am I paying $1,500 a month in subscription fees right now? It's ridiculous. Right. And I get asked this question a lot. And oddly enough, I will tell you not to use a repricing tool, especially Aura, if it's not a good fit. I love doing that because it's a waste, right? I mean, so if you're brand new, if you got like 10 SKUs, wait, you don't need repricing right now. You don't need that cost. You're just getting started. But if it's starting to take up a lot of your time, or you have like, let's say over 100 SKUs, you might want to start considering it. To just say that everybody should immediately right now, not accurate, right? It depends. It's situational. Is your business at a point where you're going to get a positive ROI on the cost of that tool? This is the way I approach adding a new subscription as a seller. What's my ROI? If I pay you $100 a month, what do I get in return? Do I get more money? The answer is yes. I will happily pay you $100 a month if you make me $200. Happy with that. But if a tool does not do that, then I don't really see the point. Now, that doesn't mean that it never will or that it always will. It depends on where your business is at, right? Like if you hand Aura $100 right now and you've got 5 SKUs, we're probably not going to return you $100. Maybe, not consistently because you only got 10 SKUs. But if you have a certain amount of SKUs and you can really utilize Aura to its full capacity, it will have a positive ROI. And so it's important to know. I know a lot of sellers get in this idea that if I just had that tool, it's a silver bullet, it's going to change everything. It doesn't exist. It can make your life better, 100%. Like on average, we see an increase of 30 to 40% in sales with new users coming to Aura. Like that's a fact. But that's not a silver bullet, right? Like that's a game changer, but it's not going to take you from like your business is failing to now it's succeeding, right? It just takes something that's good and makes it a little bit better. And that's important to know. And it's important to take into consideration when you're looking at other tools, regardless if it's repricing, sourcing, what have you. Always ask that question because it's going to help you save a lot of money in the long run. Because what's funny is, with us being in the software space, the majority of your software is designed for other software companies. And so every time we go to look to add something, we're like, that's like $500 a month. And that's the low end, right? So we have this dramatically in our company where, the low end's 500, the high end's $2,000 a month. And you're like, good Lord, like why? Like it makes no sense. But we have to ask that question. We have to say, is it profitable? Because if it's a profitable decision, we'll make that, even if it's $2,000 a month. Absolutely do that. But if it's not going to waste our time or our money on it.
Yeah. And I highly suggest, like even Eric was just saying that he does want to try Aura. He doesn't have time to mess with it right now. When you get the time, man, just sign up for the 14-day trial.
Yeah.
And then from there, Nate even mentioned in the chat that he does have a savings for you, 15%. in the description down below. So anybody that's interested, try the trial, make sure it's for you. And if it works the way that, Dillon has presented it here today, then Nate will give you a 15% savings with the link he has down below as well.
Coupon code Beard Bonus.
Yeah. and so, because Eric's asking, so that 15% is not lifetime, it's for the first 3 months after the 14-day trial. And keep in mind, you don't have, like, we don't do sales. And if something, me and Nate were talking about in the chat when we were setting this up, I was like, hey, like, I don't really do sales. Like, I'm down to geek out about stuff and like talk about the tool. That's cool, but we don't really do sales in that way. But we're still gonna be here, right? So if now's not a good time, but 3 months down the road is, wait 3 months. There's no like, I gotta do it today, I gotta do it this week. Like, if it's an actual pain point that we can solve, then sure, give it a try. But it's not something that's like, if you don't do it now, it's never going to be an opportunity or an option. It's always going to be an opportunity or an option. This is like a 15 to 20 year plan for us. So we'll be here, I promise. So if you're like, dude, I'm like 2 weeks into this journey, I don't know what to do, give it some time, right? If it takes you 2 years, that's okay. We'll still be here. And I guess what? The tool will be better in 2 years than it is now. So don't feel, like it's got to be a thing you got to do now.
Hey, Scott, what's up, my man? Dillon is the co-founder of Aura, the Repricer. Unless you might already know that, being as in Amazon as you are.
Scott, who's this Dillon character? I love Scott.
Scott has had Dillon on the show. I watched him, and that's awesome. How I even looked at.
That's funny.
That's how I started using Aura, was because of his recommendation. Like, because I was like Anthony at one time. You know what I mean? Not that long ago. I'm trying out different ones, and I'm like, okay, I'm using a trial, and then I'm gonna jump to another trial. But then when I got to you guys, the whole, like I said, I said this a couple times already, the whole look, the feel, the customer support, like it's there. Now you guys have integration with inventory labs and stuff like that. So that's making me want to go spend, $50 a month, which that's like most of the time, like that's like trying to break my wrist, like trying to do something.
Right.
But I mean, as I grow, I'm probably, I need it. I'm going to be needing it because I'm growing this more and more and more and more and more, where I need to save more time. So just having that all work together, I mean, like why not? You know what I mean? So
just makes your life easier over time, right? Like as you're growing, you do need tools, and unfortunately, in our space, which is not normal in any other technically inclined space, most tools speak together, like they integrate. That's a normal thing that happens, but in our space, for whatever reason, it's not as common, and so we kind of want to change that. Granted, the inventory lab is kind of like a common to go for if you're a repricing tool, which is, by the way, kind of cool to have Aura sitting next to tools like Informed and Be Cool that have been around for like ever. By the way, that's kind of like a nice little validation for us, which is cool. But to have your restocking tool, if you're wholesale, your forecasting tool integrated with Inventory Lab or with Aura, like that enables so much more to happen, both from an automation standpoint and from just an analytics standpoint, right? Like it helps make smarter decisions. And so that's why we want to push so heavy on the integration side. Even little minor integrations, it's like, like that'd be a nice to have, but it's nice to have. Like, let's consider it's not going to cost you any more. We can do it and be awesome. So yeah, I think it's a good route to go. And again, a lot's going to change. I mean, we're not even at version 1 in our minds. Like we're going to basically redesign and rebuild the entire thing to be even better. So like, that's why we're hiring someone right now. Is we need 2 engineers, not just 1. So
I'm excited to see this get better. I mean, it's great already. You know what I mean? And I'm sure there's things that maybe I don't see or use that other bigger sellers would see or use that need. So as I get bigger, you guys already have that in place where I'll just be, running with it and everything. So, I mean, another thing too I want to mention is if you guys ever need customer support setting this up or whatever, he is super, super easy to set up a like a Zoom or a Skype call or whatever the case is. And, you basically pick a time. Like for me, for the show, I picked Wednesday because, it was on my show. Pick the time. Here he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could do it the next day or 2 days later. He has a calendar. You pick a time and you got a one-on-one with someone that, owns the company and is going to set it up for you and help you make sure that you're going to enjoy it, because there are some people maybe in the chat that's not using Repricer. Like Kelly said, she doesn't use one, so it's a little harder, like for Anthony, he's never used one until recently, where it's setting it up for the initial time. You're nervous because this is your money, this is your sales, this is your products. And if you set it up wrong, like I know the one that I showed Anthony, Exceloco, Repricer or whatever, it wanted to just do like a 15% drop or a drop on all of his prices from that point right there. And I was like, no, don't do that. Like that would be the worst thing ever, right? So I was like, don't do that. I was like, I'll help you. So I helped him, set it up. So, you might be getting a lot of people hitting you up, but it's well worth it to make sure that people are getting the customer service and the setup that they need.
And we're growing really fast. When we committed to the first 300 users that I would do one-on-one sessions with, and I got to a point where I was doing like 14 hours a day of just that. And so we're kind of moving away from the one-on-one sessions. However, that does not mean that you do not get personal customer support. It's just I can't spend an hour, back to back one-on-one because I'm managing so many sellers at this point. But I have no problems, and please test me on this. Like if you're like, hey Dylan, I have this weird situation on this ASIN, can you help? Yes, I will jump in there. I will see what's going on. I'll map out and create that strategy for you, explain what's going on. If you're like, hey, this is happening and it seems weird, reach out. Let us know if you need help with something. If you're like, hey, Dylan, I'm trying to do this upload thing that you told me with Excel, but I'm kind of getting stuck. Great. I'm going to jump in there and fix that for you, tell you what went right, what went wrong. One thing that we don't want our users to feel like is like they're alone, right? And so as we continue to grow, it's harder to do one-on-one sessions. But if it's like, hey, this is like a stalemate, you're just really stuck here. Yeah, we're going to jump on Zoom and get this thing figured out. Like, especially if it's like a technical problem, like we're going to get this thing solved. And you're not going to have to send an email and wait for an hour to get a response. Right. That's ridiculous. There's no reason for it. I just need to be able to manage like multiple conversations in parallel, which gets kind of interesting. But I like to be clear on those things, right? And I like to have transparency on that so that your expectations are accurate. And, I want to be able to help. We do webinars every now and then. So if you're like, hey, I want to see an in-depth hour-long, maybe hour and a half long video of you just diving into creating a strategy from scratch in Aura. Got that queued up and ready for you. So if you're like, hey, I'm brand new, I'm not sure how to approach this, I need a real in-depth video on repricing itself and how to create one, got you covered. If you're like, hey, I'm not really sure where to start, can you help? Yeah, I'll create a strategy for you. That's a recommended strategy that works really well. And we can make tweaks to it, right? So we'll have a conversation like, do you want to reprice below by penny? If you're like, hey, I don't, I just want to match, but I still want to do the oscillation thing, great, I'll make that for you. And then you can go through and say, oh, that's how he did that. Okay, that makes sense. And then eventually like, okay, cool, I can create one myself. So again, you're not alone. That's the cool part.
Yeah, inventory tab's probably going to be, I might even do it my next shipment and add that to my repertoire.
I like Inventory Lab, man. I waited like 3 months when I first got started and then used it, and it was a game changer. So I was like, it's worth it. They don't support the Canadian marketplace, which I'm not too happy about. Not that I'm heavy in that marketplace, but a lot of sellers are. They're just US based right now, I believe, but they're great. I mean, we speak with their development team. So, excuse me, they're doing a lot of cool stuff, and they're expanding a little bit too. So I think you guys will see some new stuff, some new features, maybe even just a new platform, hopefully coming your way. That'll make things a little bit easier as well.
Just to let you know, too, Aura's already pulled in all of my info from Amazon. So it was
perfect.
Quick.
Awesome. That was fast.
Yeah, yeah, I figured it's all there.
Yeah, it's we built Aura to be relatively fast. So as an example, like just repricing alone, Aura can process 3,000 price changes per minute per user.
That's awesome.
And that's not a hard like it might be 3,200 for some users. So we talked earlier about or kind of mentioned, very large sellers. We have some sellers that are absolutely 8 figures. We have sellers when I go to help them with customer support and I need to log into their account, it's like multiple millions in the last 30 days. So it's not just, although we're relatively new, we're coming up on like our 1 year anniversary as a tool. We have massive sellers on this system, so it's crazy. Like we have a large number of sellers, but also like very large sellers themselves. So it's kind of neat. See, Eric, oscillation is the big thing that intrigues me. I'm telling you, try it. Even if you're using another tool, if you can set up that within their settings, try it. It's very interesting. Eric, what's the best way to get in touch with me specifically? If it's for customer support stuff, just within your Aura account if you have one. Otherwise, you can email me at Dillon, Dillon @vendrive.com. So vendrive.com. That's where we do the majority of our like company-based emails through. But yeah, email me. I have no problem with that. It'd be awesome.
All right, guys. This was a great show. I really appreciate Dillon coming on. I have to get to work, sadly, and I know Dee's starting her show or has already started her show. So I just want to thank Dillon for coming on and
Thank you, Dillon.
answering all our questions
me.
and helping set up Anthony with his minor tweak that he had issue with. Little customer support built into the live. So,
Yeah, there you go.
If anybody wants to check out Aura, there's a 14-day trial. Check it out. If you like it, you can use my coupon code BeardedBonus, and you'll save 15% for your first 3 months. And if you have any questions, you can ask me. But why ask me? Why you can ask Dillon directly on the app. I mean, you're gonna get the for sure 100% answers. I mean, I know a lot about it too, but I mean, his customer service is, best I've seen on any.
We'll take care
type
of you.
Yeah, for sure. So
yeah,
everyone have a great day. Hope lots of sales, and don't forget to get that money. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.